But you gotta believe me, there ain't nothing coming easy.
Oh, suck it now. Ha ha. Hell yeah, I know my dogs are watching. And if you ain't, I know you will be. And if you are watching and you ain't my dog yet, you will be. Because my name is Swede and I'm here to help you get busy living. What is that? That's one epic adventure every single month for the next 43 months. Actually, that's not what getting busy living is, but that's what we're doing here. And the Get Busy Living project is just an opportunity for me to try to repay the debt I owe to society for having my life saved. There I was, 2017, swiping, looking for my next unsuspecting victim, and whoosh, off the top of my head goes my hat. So what does anybody do when their hat gets snatched off their head? They go get it back. And here I am 5.5 years later trying to repay the debt that I owe to society for saving my life for that bad decision. Yeah, I'm that guy. But I'm telling you what, I have a debt that I owe and I'm going to keep on going until I repay it. And I'm telling you guys, what I'm here today to talk to you about is my mission in life, which I've made an official mission. I'm on paper. I'm going after it. And I'm going to tell you what, everything that we're going to talk about here tonight, I'm dedicated to pulling off no matter what. And luckily, I'm not doing this alone. So since nothing is worth having if it isn't worth sharing, please allow me to welcome to join me on this show, the one and only, dazzling Diana D Rexcellence. We're going to get you on, D Rex. I hope that you can come on. I know that we've been having a little bit of internet trouble. So it looks like you're there, D. Are you coming in with me or am I going solo? Look, it's okay if I got to do this alone because everything I'm doing today, I'm speaking to you guys from the heart, man. I'm telling you. What do you do when you realize you wake up one day and you realize that you were within an inch of losing your life? And if it wasn't for your friends coming to the hospital and recovering your phone and going through it and sending messages to everyone on the phone telling them that something terrible had happened to you, and if they didn't all come together, that you were going to be gone soon. What do you do when you wake up and you're told that you've been in a coma for 2 weeks? And during that time, just about everyone you've ever known and ever met has come to your rescue and chipped in to save your life. You know, I have some vague memories of that coma, but really when I woke up and Scooty Wells was looking at me and was like, what do you mean you don't know where you are? You don't remember anything? When I woke up and was telling him that, and I tried to talk to him and I couldn't. And he went on to tell me that we were in Malaysia. Last time I remember being coherent, we were in Bali. And that I had had spinal cord stabilization surgery. And that I had my lung reinflated. And I had had a very serious pneumonia fought off. And that I had told everyone that if they helped me out of that jam, that I would throw them a huge, huge party. What do you do? Well, I'll tell you what I did. I believed. I believed that if that many people had come together and gotten me that far, that I wasn't doing this alone. And that if they believed in me, that I knew that it was worth it. And sure enough, here I am 5.5 years later. And I haven't ever had a shadow of doubt because I've had an unending amount of support. Every time I turn around, I get somebody telling me that I'm doing a good job or that it's worth it, that because of my spirit, that it gives them some spirit. Is spirit the root word of inspiration? I don't know. It seems like it should be. But when I realized that I wasn't alone in this, just like I'm not alone now. What's up, girl?
You're not alone right now.
How'd you pull it off? Don't tell me. You waved your magic D Rex wand.
No. I'm sorry. I have an echo. I'm going to have to go again.
That's okay, because I was speaking from the heart. And the truth is, y'all, that
Before I go, you have to let me in. That's the trick.
Oh, hey, 2 D Rex isn't better than 1. I never thought I'd see the day.
Oh my goodness. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the technical malfunctions here tonight.
Hey, what do you
go
do?
on, sweet.
How did it happen? You know, we can't buy 2 internet signals everywhere we live.
I know. What is going on? Anyhow, continue, please. It's good to hear your story.
Yes. So, you know, after 3 years and 12 days of living in nursing facilities and fighting and having day after day, person after person encourage me. Look, I got to be honest, you know, my confidence is not natural these days. It's a different life living with this kind of condition. You know, it's like you spent 40 years of your life, 21 for those that are keeping track of your life, learning to fight with certain weapons. And then you wake up one day and you're in the middle of the war field, but you don't have any of those weapons anymore, you know? So I'm not operating on a bunch of self-confidence or natural confidence. I'm going because I've had so many people tell me, you know, that my efforts help them keep going. And I'm more afraid of waking up one day and having somebody tell me that, you know, they gave up because they thought I gave up. Man, I couldn't live with that. I couldn't live with that. So, man, D Rex, think about all we've been through in the past year. Just me and you together, you know.
It has been one crazy year of learning and growing, huh?
Life-changing circumstances over and over. And I mean, look, there's a lot of people that have been through a lot worse. No disrespect to those of you that have been through worse. I want to give a heartfelt moment of silence to what's going on in Hawaii. Will you join me, D Rex?
Oh, yes.
For those of you in Hawaii, this is our moment for you, with all due respect. You know what today is?
A great day to be alive.
Hell yeah. Thank you to everyone that chipped in back then, and to everyone that will chip in the future, because what we're trying to do here, we can't do alone. And the truth is that what tonight's show is about the mission of the Help Swede Walk Again organization. The Help Swede Walk Again organization is named that not because I like saying my own name, but it's because as of right now, I'm the only person that this organization has helped. But I'm going to change that with your help. And I look forward to the glorious day when we can say that we have helped others walk again, and then I can change the name. And that's why the official website isn't helpswedewalkagain.org. It's the HSWA.org, because eventually the HSWA is going to stand for the Help Someone Walk Again. And it's someone because we are all going to be referring to that person that we can help walk again. And how are we going to do it? Well, we aren't going to do it. Luckily, technology is gifting us with the greatest revolution that I'm aware of. And according to my nonprofit consultant, I'm not the only one. You know, the reason that the thumbnail says steel, silicone, and stem cells is because at one point, steel changed the world, made transportation completely different, made everything, housing completely different, made warfare, unfortunately, completely different. And the Industrial Revolution was born, right? And population growth and the standard of living on this planet was instantly hyper boosted. And same thing with silicone. The silicone revolution that happened in your neighborhood, D Rex, changed the world again, you know, and that's why we're able to do what we're doing right now, you know, and stem cells is the next best thing. So that's what you guys can expect us to talk about today, the mission of the Help Swede Walk Again organization, and how we intend to have stems to be an advocate for what I believe to be the next greatest revolution. But before we go any further, D-Rex, you want to help me say hello to our people?
Well, I can't see them because I'm calling in from my phone today because I had a Wi-Fi snafu, so I'm not on my computer, and you're just going to have to say hello to who's here.
Oh, well, Ray, what's up, dog? And Lori, hey, guys, girls, ladies and gentlemen, dogs and dolls, parents, and coworkers. Lori's a special guest. I had a very wonderful conversation with her a few days ago, and I'm so flattered and honored that, Lori, that you believe in us and that you're willing to participate with us. What up, smiles? Because, what we're asking of you and what you're trusting in us to accomplish is no small ask. So Lori is Schaefer's mom, and Schaefer has been nominated to be one of the someones that we are going to help. And so, Lori, thank you for your willingness to go through this process with us. There's a lot that needs to happen between now and then. Obviously, we can't do this alone. So the ways that we're going to be able to pull this off, number one, like and subscribe. Please like the show, unless you don't like the show, but don't hit the dislike button. Just kindly fuck off. But please subscribe, because that's the first step in the revenue generating process. The next step is you can go to the hswa.org and you can scroll down to where you see the Life in a Year of Sweetisms book and hit reserve your copy. And when you do that, you scroll down further and you'll see this donate button here. For a minimum of $25, what that will get you is a copy of the Life in a Year of Sweetisms book reserved in your name. Once we get 2,000 of those copies reserved, that's going to generate enough revenues for us to ship you guys the books. We're going to take a name out of the hat of all those 2,000 donors and send that person and their plus one on an all expense, airfare included, 6-night, 7-day guided tour in Alaska with Scooty the Wolf Wells, who owns Adventurous Alaska, which is I'll let him describe that to you, but it is your key to having probably the most epic adventure you're ever going to have in your life. It's also, with those revenues, going to afford us to send someone to Panama to get a stem cell treatment. Now, for those of you that have already donated, you probably know that we kicked this fundraiser off a few years ago. And I found out that if that money had been received by me, even if I was just holding it for this, that I was risking my medical future. So I had to try to figure out a way to cover my own and in that process got ripped off. So I was under a non-disclosure agreement for a long time and I couldn't talk about it. And that's why it's been a while. But we still have that money and we're still collecting that. So what we want to do is the reason that it's 25 or more and not just, hey, buy the book on demand for $15 or whatever, is because it's not about me. It's not about the book. It's not about sending somebody to Alaska. It's about the extra revenues that are generated by going 25 or more. That's going to afford us to be able to send somebody to get a stem cell treatment. Does that make sense, D Rexcellence? I mean, I'm on the inside of the bubble, and they say the fish can't see the color of the water in the bowl. So to me, that's pretty clear. 25 or more, 2,000 copies, books, raffle, and stem cell treatment. Is that clear?
Oh, I think it's clear. And I think that it just has to be easy. So how easy would you say it is to donate to this cause and to help people, help others walk again, and help themselves be in a chance to win this wonderful trip to Alaska? How easy is it?
Well, as long as you have internet, $25, that's, that's the start. I guess my question.
How easy is it to find that button?
Oh, well, as soon as you go to the hswa.org and scroll down to reserve your copy. And if you have any trouble, you're welcome to rewind this episode and watch what I just did.
Right. I mean, it's just right there. So,
yeah.
I mean, I guess, when you're having a moment, when you're feeling a little generous and you want to put something toward a good cause, I'd say this is a great one. And not only are we going to be helping Schaefer be our first recipient, but you're going to get a wonderful book. And that's not even the whole point. It's like everybody's helping everybody. Scooty Wells is going to be helping somebody go to Alaska. And this is just like a circle of helping. So, as soon as you are having a moment where you're like, yeah, I'm feeling generous, you know where to go, hit that button.
Exactly. And that's why the spirit that goes into the attitude that you have, D Rex, is what I'm searching for. Look, I knew when I decided to walk this path that most of my personal friends were not going to walk this with me. I can't, I wouldn't expect one of my friends like, hey, sweet, hey, now I'm doing this, I'm digging ditches in Nigeria. Like, I'm like, look, dude, that's a great cause, but I'm not going to go dig ditches. I don't expect people to become podcast followers or suddenly be available on Thursdays. I'm not asking all of my close friends to support this, but I know this, that there's enough people out there that can benefit from this effort, that even if it's not my close circle and even if it's not yours, that as long as we are consistent and persistent, that this will grow. And what matters is that people believe that we're going to pull this off. And so really what it comes down to is the impressions that we've made, that I've made, especially in my life, and whether or not people believe that I'm going to pull this off or that I'm going to stay committed to this. And so, every single Thursday we're here, guys. Every single Thursday we're here, girls. I think we've missed one. And I mean, considering the things that we've gone through to make sure that we didn't miss any of the other ones, I'm giving you credit, D Rex. You've been more than I have. And we're not going to slow down.
I think people will forgive us for missing Thanksgiving. Come on.
Yeah,
that's
what
happened.
It's my favorite holiday. And what it comes down to is, whether or not people believe that what we're doing is worthwhile. So I guess the first question is, you've got this graphic here that we want to ask, who do you know that suffers from one of these issues? How many of you can say you don't know anyone that suffers from one of these issues? Heart failure, the number one killer on the planet. Autoimmune diseases are rampant. Talk about those. Cerebral palsy, we all know Schaefer. If you don't, you will. Watch another episode. Rheumatoid arthritis, shout out to my man Dave, who has been helping me behind the scenes with some other parts of this project, soon to be talked about. Osteoarthritis is another type of arthritis. Sports injuries, come on, man. Everybody, we all know somebody who currently has one, or we've all probably had one. Multiple sclerosis is something that we've talked about in prior episodes. Autism is something that, man, I suspect that, I think it's like 1 in 53 American children, something like that, has is somewhere on that spectrum. And I'll be honest, I suspected that of myself sometimes, and I'm not confident that I don't fall under that umbrella, to be quite honest with you. And so
I'm looking at this list, and I know at least 5 people who fall under this umbrella of having one or more of these diseases. And if you're here in the audience and you feel like commenting, why don't you comment your number? Because I have a feeling that the answer is not 0. The answer is not 1. You know a lot of people with these issues. And when you think about those people that you know and you love, don't you wish that there was a way to help them to alleviate their symptoms from these things so they can live longer and live better? But there is a way, and we're going to be talking about it for quite a bit today.
Yeah, there's a harsh reality out there that tells us that a lot of times we're more willing to help someone else than we are to help ourselves. And I'm cool with that because I benefited from that. I'm around thanks to that. But guys, how many of you that are listening right now, whether you're live or if you're going to listen in the future, have some sort of heart condition, some sort of autoimmune disease, cerebral palsy, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, multiple sclerosis, autism, or have had a sports injury? So this is something that is in everyone's backyard, if not in your own living room. And the thing is that a lot of these historically have been considered to be untreatable. And so that's why I'm so confident and so much in love with this. It's not steel, it's not silicone, but it could be the next thing that we come across. And so historically incurable diseases, neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Lou Gehrig's, and Huntington's, these are things that completely 100% healthy people that have been minding their own business their entire lives, all of a sudden they're forgetful or they can't stand up straight.
It could hit anyone.
I'm sorry?
It could hit anyone.
Anyone. And it probably will hit. Well, I'm not going to recite statistics this entire show, but I've been going over them, and they're not pretty. The odds are one of these four will strike 1 in 3 Americans. So look, what I am is a believer. What I am not is an expert. So we've talked about health in the past. I'm not a health expert, although I have studied nutrition officially. We've talked about exercise in the past, although I have not ever gotten any kind of degrees in exercise. I've spent my hours in the gym and done my share of research. And we're talking about stem cells today. I'm not a stem cell expert. I've just done my share of research. And I'm not going to, so, I put this together because I think this is relevant. So check this out. Everywhere you go to research stem cells, you come up with this statement. It's important to note that while stem cell therapies offer promise, they are still being researched and developed, and their safety and efficacy need to be reestablished through rigorous clinical trial. That pops up everywhere because there's so much propaganda out there that it's like, we can't make promises, but you can say milk does a body good, but you can't make promises about something that there's so much evidence out there that this method is as spot free as anything we've ever seen. Now, look, the thing is, the reason that there's a disclaimer there is because the nature of stem cells is that it depends on their source. So if you get an apple out of a bad bunch, does that make apples, questionable? No, you just got to get the good ones, right? So yes, that's a part of it. But the point is that this can help so much, so many, and they have to say these things about them not being a cure because it's a liability issue. But the truth is that there's historically been no options for people that suffer from these neurodegenerative diseases, and stem cells are showing promise in that realm. Same thing with these autoimmune diseases. Autoimmune. So the auto part, I guess, is kind of talking about it's within us. It's our body attacking itself. And that's because we're putting things in our body that it doesn't recognize and is not familiar with. And that starts with food. But, sunscreens are up there. Stuff like that, chemicals that are present everywhere in our environment, whether it's the bed that we're laying in. There's a lot of molecules in there that our body's not used to. So we're putting stuff in our body and our body's attacking, not recognizing those things because they accumulate and they take up residency in your body. And the body's like, well, what the hell is this? It's been hanging out here like it lives here, and it doesn't recognize, it starts attacking itself, and then all of these other diseases, whether heart, liver, lung, kidney disease, these are things that are historically, now, obviously there are things that we can do to relieve them. But you look at, when you go to a doctor and they're like, no, we can't cure that for you, but here, we can give you some pills that'll make you feel better about it, right? And they convince you that these are things that are incurable. These are things that stem cells are showing promise with. And I want to be clear that, there's liabilities issues out there, man. So we can't say it cures, but it's been known to successfully treat. You know what I mean, D Rex? Successfully treating.
How did you find out about stem cells?
I read a book. Actually, Scooty Wells told me about it shortly after I got injured. And once I read the book that written by Neil Riordan, and I just not fell in love, but I just got obsessive about research. This is, early on, right after I got injured and got back to the U.S. So I was in Malaysia for 6 months, and then I got back to the U.S. And it wasn't long after that that I saw this as a way to make an impact, and I mean, there's no reason to believe other than like not wanting to, it's like not wanting to believe in stem cells is like, it's like not wanting to believe that the sun's going to rise because it might be cloudy tomorrow. It doesn't mean the sun's not rising. There just there's a little bit else going on there. But
well, let's just think about that. It's not wanting to believe. I think that there's a lot of misinformation out there where I think the first thing people want to know is, where are people getting these stem cells from? Because a lot of people will say, well, I heard they have to get them from dead babies. So can you just set the record straight before we go any further with this conversation?
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, because that's probably the biggest issue stopping people from believing. At one point you couldn't sail across the ocean because you didn't want to fall off the edge of the earth. Okay, just like believing that stem cells are a problem, it's like believing the earth is flat. Look, all due respect for those of you out there that still think that, but it's not true. And stem cells are good. So they don't come from just babies. So imagine this, D-Rex. Imagine male sperm cell, female egg cell. Boom, they happen, right? They're together. What happens? That's one unit there that has to turn into everything that becomes a human, right? So there has to be some entity there of some possibility of that becoming bones and becoming heart, becoming blood, becoming brain, right? So something about our cells have to be able to turn into everything, okay? So all these things, the bone, the brain, the heart, the blood, they all stem from that first, molecule, egg cell, right? So stem cells are essentially cells in our body that can turn into anything. So when you have an infant growing, look, like I already said, do your own research, right? Don't come at me. But in the early stages, that concept is kind of what birthed the idea that where is all this coming from? So they found stem cells. They thought they found them in babies because that's like the concept lies in there. But the truth is that now that we're 50 or 60 years into stem cell existence, as far as how we know it, I believe it's somewhere around there, we know that you can get them from fetuses, yes, but it's not happening anymore. That's illegal everywhere on earth, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know. But what's happened from there since then, we found out that you can get stem cells from your own bone marrow, you get stem cells from your own adipose tissue, and what is the best thing now, what's going on, is that you can get stem cells from umbilical cords that have historically just been thrown away, right? So we have this endless supply. Every time a child is born, there's an umbilical cord. Now, obviously, they're not all healthy mothers, and they're not all healthy children, fetuses. So the umbilical cords aren't all perfectly healthy, but a lot of them are. And so what we're doing in certain places on this planet is allowing those donated umbilical cords and placentas, which are ripe with these human umbilical cord stem cells that have yet to become a bone or a brain or blood, right? They're just there ready for that. So what we're able to do is recover those, and then I'm not going to recite the research, but we essentially are able to hold on to those and use them to become, things in the future. And so we're no longer killing babies.
This is something that's known.
This is
something that's known because I had a baby back in 2004, and I was offered the chance to save the placenta and umbilical cord blood and have it banked. And I didn't know anything about the possibilities of stem cells. I didn't know what they were. Part of the reason doing podcasts, guys, is because we want you to know the importance of these things and how things can change. If we can increase knowledge about how important it is to be saving these placentas and this umbilical cord blood. I didn't know this back in 2004, so I just said, why would I do that? There wasn't any education there. So I said no. But if I knew that those could basically be a magic bullet in some case for my son later on, for any disease that might pop up and strike him, I definitely would have done it. But I didn't know. And that's the whole reason we're talking about this today. We're hoping that through education, we can bring change to this area.
Hell yeah. And just to go back on, so Lori was, when we were talking about who knows people that have these ailments, she's like, pink waving me. So she said her uncle just passed away from ALS. And then Sammy, what's up, Gal? He said stem cells help cure cancer in my friend, right? And then Lori says that the best book she's ever read, she highlighted the heck out of it. So she's talking about Neil Rodin's book. That's what she and I were talking about the other day, that she's read the book, she's done the research, and she's all in. She says, again, it's as simple as someone donations their placenta after a birth, or banking your cord blood after birth, and there is the magic to save lives. Amen. Exactly. Sammy says, my friend used her own stem cells. So
Oh.
You can use your own stem cells, but the thing is, as you age, that your stem cells also age. So yes, your stem cells are better than no stem cells unless you're super unhealthy. But these human umbilical cord stem cells are they're called the golden cells by some experts. And then Lori says, D Rex, yes, me too. And I had no clue what they were. But not only that, it costs a shit ton of money to store them. So actually, I looked at that recently, and yes, a shit ton of money, depending on how much money you have. But
yeah, it's all relative, right?
it's all relative. For the potential savings later, it's not even close. It's not even a question. If I mean, honestly, at this point, should I be blessed with another child in my life? There's no question. I don't care if I have to hawk my own kidney. We're affording keeping that kid's stem cells. And so,
So you didn't say what the price was. What did you find out?
I saw some ballparks that were around 1,500 up to $3,000, and then like 100 to a couple hundred to save them in
per
time.
year.
Yeah, 100 per year. So,
and that can be prohibitive for people. But the thing is, the question we have to ask is, if these stem cells are so good for treating diseases, why aren't hospitals saving the placentas for themselves to treat their patients?
Because think about this. If you're a hospital and there's 90% of the people that are in your hospital can be cured by stem cells, but you can't patent them. And you've got all these other things, and they'll be cured. That means they're never going to be a patient again. I'm not saying that stem cells cure them. Potential for alleviating their issues, and they're not coming back. Or you've got this other technique that's going to keep them coming back year after year after year. Mm-hmm. Look, I'm not accusing. I'm just saying that's a very profound question, D Rex. Why? So because, well, I'm not going to say the because, but what I am going to say is I'm going to walk through what things stem cells can do. Okay, so we've got this here. So unique revolutionary properties of stem cells. So think about it, guys. These are cells that can become anything. Imagine like first responders in the city, but imagine them being like superhuman, like mutants, where they can show up like the Terminator, the bad guy in Terminator, and turn into anything. So they can show up, and you got a house burning down, they can turn into a fire extinguisher. You got a car wreck, they can turn into the jaws of life. You got a bridge down, they can turn into a bridge. They can turn into what fixes the problem, essentially, like new cells. They turn into the new cells to repair. So that's the regenerative potential that they have. And then, that's the tissue repairing and healing. That's what I mean. Like if they show up and you have a wound and you need new skin cells, they become the skin cells. You know, the disease treatment properties, like it says right here, it doesn't matter what ailment it is. It's like, imagine the police and the paramedics and the firemen. They can always show up and address it, whatever it is. Now, I'm not saying they can always, you can ask the people that are getting missiles dropped on them right now. First responders don't cure everything, but stem cells have that power to show up like first responders and address any ailment that we have. And so the reason that, to answer your question about, the hospitals, hospitals have blanket treatments a lot of times, right? Doctors in general. How many times have you got more than 15 minutes with your doctor in his office? And do you really feel like 15 minutes is enough time? Think about how we have felt like our lives were like hanging in the balance, and all doctors got for you is 15 minutes because I feel for doctors because they go in the hole to become a doctor, most of them, and they spend the rest of their lives digging out of that hole as doctors. So they're doing their best too, but they don't have time to spend to personalize every single person's treatment, and with stem cells, it is very personal. And so the reduced risk of rejection with human umbilical cord stem cells, because they're coming from umbilical cords, they are not the adult that gave birth. They're not the child that was born. They're in the middle. They can still become anything. So they differentiate into whatever cell that they need to differentiate into. So because they're not another person, when you put them into your body, they're not like using someone else's liver or somebody else's kidney or somebody else's, leg. Have you ever heard about how they do bypass surgery? They take sometimes if your arteries aren't good enough, they'll take somebody else's arteries, even cadavers sometimes, and put them in your body. So when our body sees, somebody else's tissues in there, there's a risk of being attacked by our body, thinking that it's foreign. So when you use the HUCSTs, human umbilical cord stem cells, you don't have that risk of rejection. So that's a huge deal. You don't have to worry about eating those immunosuppressants that like when you have a foreign tissue put into your body and you have to worry about your body attacking itself, you have to suppress your own immune system. And that's what the rejection process is about. And those immunosuppressants are killing people worse than whatever it was that they're trying to cure with the transplant. So it's like, it's a huge mess. And the problem is that every single time you go to the hospital, somebody gets paid. That's a huge problem. Well, one of the reasons that stem cells haven't taken over the planet yet, because there's a lot of well-beings out there, with all due respect to those doctors and those nurses and those people that are selling the pharmaceuticals, their livelihoods are at stake when you have a cure like this. That's just the truth. And so the potential for organ replacement, and that's legitimate. I mean, can you imagine? Like they can just like we are able to use cellular biology to be able to create. I mean, you guys are, I'm sure, all aware of the fact that we're able to clone now. You can clone stem cells and grow them into whatever organs we need. Think about it. How are humans growing? Because we started as an egg and a sperm, and we keep growing just like that. We're technology these days, we're able to replicate that process. And that's what this disease modeling slide's about, is that we can actually create a sickness in a test tube via stem cells and then test our asses off on how to fix it without ever hurting anyone or anything. How many activists are out there worried about the lab rats and the monkeys that we're testing, and how many ailments that we're suffering today that we can't come up with a real fix for, because we don't want to test on humans. You know what I mean? And D Rex, listen, I love your voice. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get through these here because I know that you have things that you've talked about or that you want to talk about. But this kind of this sums it up right here, what they are and how they work. We've covered this, and I can't hammer this point home enough, that harnessing the true power of this is, the possibilities are endless. My nonprofit consultant, I hope that he doesn't mind me repeatedly saying this, because I know I've mentioned it in past podcasts. When I told him what I wanted to do in order to try to repay the debt I owe to society for saving my life, I told him that I wanted to put stem cells in every living room. I want all of us to, we got a soda. What do you want? We got a soda. Hold on. Let me move the stem cells and pull out the popsicles. I see that. I see that vision. And I know there's a lot of others, I'm not alone, that see the future where we're no longer suffering from things that we used to think were incurable, because now we have the ability to do all of these things with stem cells to cure things. And when I first learned about these things, I was looking at how to, fix my spinal cord. And when I came across stem cells, D-Rex, I got to be honest, they're the wind in my sail. You know what I mean? They're legitimately they're the reason that I have to believe that I can walk again someday. And I just got so excited about it years ago that I've just been pushing forward with it. And the truth is that because I'm so far out from my spinal cord injury, I hate to say this because, I'm a believer, but it's unlikely. The odds are against me, that stem cells will work for me. But when I awoke in Malaysia, at that point, I was happy to be alive. I wasn't going to complain about whether or not I was going to be able to walk again. I was happy to be alive. And that gift of life was given to me, regardless of whether or not I'm ever able to walk again. And stem cells, I know, have the ability, have the potential to change so many lives and to help so many different people, And so,
well, I'd like to add something there. Hold on. I want to back up for a second, because you say that they're unlikely to help you. Well, they might be unlikely to help you in some regard. But if anybody talks to you on a regular basis like I do, they would find out that you actually have a lot of stuff going on. You have a lot of health issues all the time going on. And especially you've got this mystery one going on in your brain right now, but you don't have any answers for. And the truth is, if you go and you get that stem cell treatment that we're all trying to get for you, it's going to help something in your body. It may not be what you intended, but be something that you need. I think it's important to keep your sights on that. It's for fixing things, right? It's for replacing things. And suppose it doesn't go to your spine, but suppose it goes to your brain, or suppose it goes to your hips, and that's a great thing too. So I think it's important let's just keep our eye on the goal here, which is let's get everybody their stem cell treatments. That's what we're aiming for here. Am I really live here all by myself on my telephone? Okay, there we are.
Yeah, I agree. I wanted to answer your question here also. So there's reasons, but none of them discourage me. None of them. I know that just like it was a matter of time before steel was in every building and silicon was in every machine, and pretty soon it's going to be in everything. As far as microchips go, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, when I talk about silicon, I'm talking about microchips. I believe the stem cells are going to be a part of everyone's lives. And actually, I don't know if I believe that they will, but I'm going to die trying to get it there. Because I know that these obstacles, if you will, research and development stage, that's like saying, well, we're not really sure if they work yet, education and training. We don't have enough people out there that know how to use them. Standardization and quality control, well, we don't know how to make money on them. Safety concerns, 40 years from now, we don't know what's going to happen to us. But what about, that didn't seem to bother them when it came to COVID. They were throwing vaccines up everybody's asses back then. No time. We don't know what's going to happen long term. Stem cells might grow ears on people's foreheads. No, they're not. We've been messing with them for 50 years. Anyway, I get upset about that.
Yeah,
Patient variation. What? Like these are all legitimate reasons that I got off of a reputable website. I'm not out here to smear anybody. That's why I'm not naming names. But long-term follow-up, that's what I'm talking about. Like, oh, we don't want to do that because we don't know if we can still keep up with it down the road. It's like saying, well, we don't want you to buy you a car because we don't know if anybody else is going to be driving cars 10 years. Nobody's going to know how to fix yours. What the ever? Regulatory approval and ethical and legal considerations. Look, the ethical and legal considerations, forget about it. We're not killing babies anymore, okay? The regulatory approval is the real reason. That's the real reason. That's why in the official mission statement of the Help Sweden Walk Again, the mission of the Help Sweden Walk Again organization is to create in our society the acceptance and availability of stem cell therapies and to help underprivileged and needful citizens gain access to their tremendous impact potential. Do you realize how heavily my life has been impacted by you guys? That's why we're here, because I'm trying to make an impact the way the impact was made upon me. One, by educating the public to understand that stem cell science is a proven, safe, and effective method. There's no longer a moral or ethical issue. Two, by advocating for legislative funding of the research and development of attainable, affordable treatments. And three, to help affected people receive the necessary funding that will lead to them living more fulfilled and joyful lives. That's why we want you guys, that's why we want you to go to the hswa.org, scroll down to reserve your copy, throw us 25 or more. Let's get Schaefer down to Panama. Let's get one of you, the first 2,000, up to Alaska with the wolf. And let's get you some books. That's the least of my concern, to be honest with you. I'm not trying to put my words in your mouth. If you want them, you can go get them. They're on Facebook. But the book is it's just a medium. It's just, you give us something, we're giving you something in return, But what we're really trying to accomplish is getting my man Shafe and others like him, others that suffer from these ailments that we listed earlier, that were previously considered to be incurable or untreatable, let's get some help out there, y'all. And look, this is an officially designated by the IRS nonprofit. It's not like I'm going to take your money and go gambling with it. Like this is a real deal. I'm not blowing smoke. I'm not doing this every single week because I want to hear myself talk. I know from week to week we don't talk about this heavy stuff usually, or maybe stuff we talk about is heavy. But we don't hammer this HSWA stuff. We're always talking about getting busy living and the mindset it takes to like overcome your obstacles. But I hope that it all makes sense now to people that even if they don't truly believe that I'm going to sell out for this cause, believe in stem cells and help someone with them. But no, I'm dedicated to this. I'm dedicated to this, and I got good help. D Rex, your face, your lovely, smiling face every week with me. Caro, behind the curtain, coming up in a few minutes. She's got something to share. And there are others behind the scenes. I've got a special guest coming up in a couple weeks that's also dealing with an issue that is previously something that doctors tell you just got to live with, Crohn's disease. And by the way, guys, please look at my Facebook. I know I've already asked for a moment of silence for what's going on in Hawaii. Look at my Facebook for that cause. Also look at my Facebook. My man Drew's got some friends that have gone through some tragedy. Other ways to help. I'm really hoping. I'm hoping before I'm over that somehow, some way, shape, or form that I can do something that has an impact on someone's life the way that my life has been impacted. It's not about this 55 months in a row. That's just something for me to give you guys something to keep track of, something to root for. It's not about every week coming on here and telling you guys, how to overcome generational trauma or be vulnerable or learn about kidney donations. It's about repaying the debt that I owe to every one of you that chipped in to help me. I know that you chipped in, D Rex, and you chip in every week. And we're about to bring Caro on. I know that she's helping. My boys Scott and Jerry obviously owe them big time. Micah and Elmo and Nadine and Zrana and Rob and Nelly, all the people that are on the ground, Laura on the ground in Bali, owe you guys. Monica, Dr. God, owe you guys. These are people that had hands on me and like have really touched me, but so many of you out there, like I can't tell you about some of the comments I got today on Facebook Messenger. I wishing some friends happy birthday, and they said some things that just like make me want to fight back tears because people are seeing what's going on with me, and I think that that they want to encourage me to keep going. So thank you so much, D Rex. I know that there was a lot to say today, and there wasn't with the technical difficulties, there wasn't a lot of an opportunity for you to ask some of your questions. But I hope that we've done a good job at least of explaining to people why we're believers in stem cells. I love your testimonial about how if you could go back, you would definitely decide differently with what Luke said, or with Luke's placenta or whatever. I got my man Matt Santiago's in the house giving a shout out. Good to see you, brother. Big thanks to all you guys that showed up today. But I want to welcome to the stage now a very special guest. She's a regular weekly contributor. Want to get you on as often as possible. Caro, please tell us, what do you got coming up?
Don't chase the monkeys.
What's up, girl? I will not chase the monkey ever again. That's good advice.
The best advice of the week.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Diane. Hey, sweet.
Hello,
Nice to see
good
you
to
guys
see you.
again. Miss you too. I'm so excited to be here once again. Thank you, sweet. Thank you, D Rex, for giving me the chance to participate in this project and this podcast once again. There's
it's amazing
so
that
much.
you're a part of it.
Thank you.
D-Rex says
Um,
from off stage. It's so funny.
I want to give Caro some space on the screen. She's so pretty and she got
oh
so much
no, we
to
can
say.
share.
You
We
go
can
ahead.
share. I like to
All right, if
share.
you're gonna make okay, if you're gonna make me small, I'll go back up.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. All right. Here
Okay,
we go.
that's better. I like to see you too.
Okay.
Well, there's so much going on behind the curtains that I feel many people wants to know about it. So giving me the opportunity to give the audience a glimpse about what's going on behind curtains is something that I'm looking forward.
And we appreciate it.
So, so each week I hope to offer a unique perspective, a way for our community to see what's going on behind the scenes. So showing the way how I see it, hopefully you will gain an appreciation for what we're working to accomplish with this project.
Yeah.
Uh, this week, you got the first official look at the mission at Helps We Walk Again organization. What you may not see aware of is what brought we to this point, what is the potential result could be. So I'm going to talk about this project, the way how I see it. So hopefully you will see a big picture the way I see it and become as excited to participate the way how I am.
Okay. Well. All right, Carol. I'm all for you letting people see behind the curtain as long as there's no shower scenes. You promise? Keep it G-rated.
I'm not making any promise. You are not a G-rated guy. You're not the kind of G-rated guy.
No.
But I would try to keep it interesting without offending anyone. Is that cool?
Yeah. Okay.
Sounds good.
Well, I don't know how interesting I am, but suddenly interested in hearing how you have made sense of all this madness.
Sorry to disappoint the ladies. No juicy sweet in the shower scene. But I think it's interesting to learn how and why stem cells became to a main focus in this project and your life. So let me get to the other juicy part. So I was there when in Malaysia when Sui came out of the coma. So since the first moment Sui woke up and found out that he was alive, thanks to people around the world helping with spreading the word and fundraising, he has been concerned about asking for help. So Scott and Jerry had to convince him. They have to they have to convince him that it was okay, that the help was pouring in, and that we wouldn't be able to remain in the hospital if we didn't continue fundraising. Do you remember how you feel, Sui?
Yeah, I was uncomfortable because I've always been one to fend for myself and not relied on others for much after that point in my life. So I was worried about getting something for nothing. So we started brainstorming on things that I could offer in exchange for donations rather than just accepting them outright. That was the first time we looked into offering coffee, and we also had some people working on T-shirts. Thank you, I love the guys. Eventually, Sin had the idea to design a book. That we could offer in exchange for the donations. That's how the Life in a Year of Sweetisms book was born.
Yes, we were trying to be creative so that donors would feel like they were receiving something in change for their donations.
Yeah.
So the point that I'm making to the audience is that you've been concerned from the start about getting a free ride. Do you want to tell everyone about how stem cells became the main focus in this project?
Yeah, actually, I was kind of touching on it earlier. I was researching spinal cord injuries and saw that there's not much hope, no matter how you slice it. No pun intended. I could try to turn towards robotics and Neuralinks and those types of options, but they seem like a far stretch, like something that would be possible in a distant future. That's when Scott told me about the Joe Rogan podcast, where he talked about stem cells and how they've been showing promise regarding healing spinal cords.
Yeah, that's the interesting part. I remember you telling me that there's no guarantees that stem cells work on the spinal cord injuries. So what made you decide to pursue that anyways?
Well, I decided to go after stem cells because I realized right away that, even though it wasn't a surefire solution for me and my condition, in my pursuit of receiving the therapies, I'd raise awareness and help others, learn about how revolutionary and groundbreaking the therapies are.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping the audience will see, that even though you may not benefit, the impact of raising awareness could be felt by everyone. Like you discussed earlier here, just about everyone has somebody close to them that is suffering from a condition that could be helped by stem cells therapies. Can you imagine how amazing it will be when everybody has access to these treatments in the future? That will be amazing.
Yeah,
Like
I
go
worry a
ahead.
little bit that we can't get there without more education on the subject.
For sure.
A lot of people love to just keep spouting their misinformation about it, and I feel like it would be a wonderful thing if we could get there in the future, if we could change healthcare, and hopefully just by talking about it bit by bit, we can
It's
start to
worthwhile to
change
try.
some minds. You never know which
Yeah.
mind that we can change that will actually be able to be the one that makes the change.
Amen.
Yeah, that will be the dream come true.
It's worth
L-
talking about.
Yeah, like I have said in past episodes that I'm so excited to be part of this project because knowing the mission we are trying to achieve gives me a strong sense of purpose.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, seriously, this is really something worth everyone attention and effort. And I hope that by sharing this with the audience, that making an impact on them the way they had an impact on you is so important to you. They will be more encouraged to participate. I can imagine how I would feel if I knew so many people had helped me when I needed, and I would want to repay them somehow too. But how do you repay so many people?
Yeah.
Well, being a part of the reason stem cells became available to everyone is a great way, because so many people can benefit of it.
Yes. I'm so happy you see it that way. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this angle, Caro, with our audience. I realize that although I'm not giving up hope on walking again, the odds are against me. I can still make an impact on the lives of those who help me, you know, even if, like I said, that's why, it's the hswa.org. I can't wait for that ceremonious day when we can genuinely, honestly, truthfully say that this nonprofit that was founded because you guys rescued me has saved and helped someone else walk again. And personally, I recognize that spinal cords are a crapshoot, and that even if stem cells become, common as butter on a bread, that it's possible that mine might not heal. That's why I'm trying to keep my body as healthy as possible in other ways. And look, I'm not obsessive. I still eat pizza here and there and wings, but I do try to. Thanks to Carol, by the way, girl, thank you for doing such a great job. She motivates me and helps me exercise, and she gives me guilt-free food. And man, my waistline is getting smaller. It's crazy. I never thought I'd go on vacation and come back smaller. That's never happened. Seriously. The fact that you're willing to come on, Caro, like the things that you do in that realm are enough, to change my life wholeheartedly and fully. But the fact that you're also willing, to come on here, and I know it's not easy to come on here and give people, glimpse behind the curtain, but I appreciate you doing it. Especially the angle that you shared today was a very worthwhile way of seeing it, because sometimes I wonder what people think when I tell them that I started a nonprofit and that I launched a website or a podcast to try to be the audience or the mouthpiece of it, and I don't really know how that's received, and And I know when I talk, I mean, I've been looked at sideways by so many people. They're like, "Oh, this guy's got his head in the clouds," you know. But to hear you sum it up that way, you know, and to to see it the way that look at D Rex, she's frozen. There you are.
I don't want to be frozen. I don't want to be frozen.
Well,
okay. Well, yeah, my connection's not great today, but I want to say that sure, like everybody's got their head in the clouds until they make the thing happen, and then they're seen as a genius. You know, it's like it's got to start somewhere. It always starts with your head in the clouds, always.
Well, they say that, it's never the first person that starts a movement, right? Like one person running around dancing is crazy. You ever see that video of the guy dancing by himself? It's not until the second person joins him. Because after that second person joins, the third person's easy, and the fourth and the fifth and the sixth. So looky here. D-Rex, thank you, first and foremost, for believing me and joining me and being my second person in this effort. And Caro, so glad to have you. So glad to have you. And for all those
to be part of this
showed up today, Lori, thanks again. Santiago, it's great to see you. What's up, girl? Magic Mel is in the house. Hey. She said you should share the book name and author it with everyone. The name of the book is The Life in a Year of Sweetisms book. And the author is me. And it's a collection of things I've written in the past on the idea of that. Remember, put yourself where I was. I was in intensive care, and we were trying to offer something to people, and I wanted it to be something that was for me, but I couldn't even lift my arms. And so that's when Sin was like, why don't we put together a collection of your past stuff? And that all came from Scott and Jerry talking about how while I was in a coma, so many people had called me, and Scott was like, said that a lot of them I probably wouldn't remember, that I'd met at some random occurrence, and then that they became fans of the stuff that I was posting online, which is the most flattering thing. If you go back a year ago and look at the every other day post that I was doing right before we started doing this podcast, I say that like that's the craziest thing to me, that people would be interested or that I would make an impression like that. But I couldn't be more flattered about it, And so I just want to say thank you guys to all you guys. Mel saying hello to TJ. Look, Lori's got a good thing that I want to talk about here real quick. So she said, I was all the way in when watched and learned about stem cells, even before you offered to help Schaefer. So if he gets helping out, spreading the word to educate the importance of stem cells. That's it. That's it. Give me a little encouraging word about, yes, the first follower is often the biggest hero. The first guy's crazy. I don't know if you guys ever read my ism about crazy before brave. So that'll be in the book. I might post that with one of the podcast clippets here so that you guys know what I mean when I say crazy before brave is always the first way to go. Sammy says she can make a recipe book and people would purchase it and proceeds could help. Just a thought. There you go. There you go. Oh, the stem cell book. Neil Riordan is the author of the stem cell book. I read it, but not me hooked. And thanks to that, and I've actually, I met Neil Riordan, Mr. Riordan, I guess I should call him because he's got at least a year on me. Back in March when I went to the convention that they put on in March in Dallas, I met him. I met a couple of his higher ups, and I let them know that I was interested in being an advocate for their company or at least for their industry. And well, actually, I told Neil that, and that's when he invited me to meet a couple of his guys. And since I met them, I told them that I had some work to do on this show and on my ability to help before I would get back in touch with them. But I'm getting close to the point where I feel confident in reaching out to them and letting them know that it's not just me, that I've got an audience of believers, and we're ready to get to work and start helping them, change lives with stem cells. So again, thanks to everyone in the comments. Is there anything that you want to share, D Rex or Caro, before we wrap this one up?
Anyone who's watching, I hope that my working, that if you know somebody who is going to have a baby, either in the future or currently pregnant right now, encourage them to check this podcast.
D-Rex, you're breaking up, but I think that
and maybe go ahead and talk for me then.
Okay, yeah, sorry, babe. You can't do anything when the internet fails you, but I think that what you were doing was encouraging folks that what D-Rex is making the point of is that if you are about to give birth to your child, please please do the research. Please, this could be something that you will thank yourself for forever. Dave, you missed us, buddy. We were talking about you earlier. Melanie, love you. Everybody, Caro, thank you. D Rex, thank you, guys. Always remember.
Thank you, everybody.
We're all in this together.
Thank you.
No matter the
Thank
weather.
you, everybody.
Always remember, whether sunshine or rain, there's no joy without pain. Always remember, we're all in this together. Can I get a hell yeah?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. You're going to have to press the button.
Oh, is there a button? I thought that just happened naturally all the time.
That just magically appeared? No, I don't have control over that.
Not yet.
Actually,
We don't have that ability yet.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
But you gotta believe me, ain't nothing coming easy my way.